看看新闻网。
Welcome to Ways to Wellness, a show that guides you to the best ways to get well and stay well. Here we are giving you a fair stage on which to demonstrate both traditional Chinese medicine and Western medicine solutions. But we just show the different options. You are the one to decide which is the best treatment for you. Exhausting work hours, irregular meals, and too many sweets. Today's typical lifestyle is not the healthiest. An unhealthy lifestyle, especially when it comes to food, can increase your risk of getting diabetes. Diabetes nowadays is no longer a problem, only affects older people. No matter what age you are, if you have it and don't take care of it, the health consequences can be serious and even deadly. So please stay with us today and we will offer you more tips.
听说过一般是年龄偏大的才会有糖尿病吗？然后会吃不好，一般糖性的东西都不可以吃。
经常蛮严重的，可以引起咱们失明呀，甚至要截肢，再严重了就要死人的，听说起来是很吓人的一种病。
特别是哪里有什么伤口，它好像不容易好哎。
So from our street interviews, we can see that some people do have some knowledge of diabetes, but today we have the chance to discuss with our doctors more about this disease. So we have two doctors. We have Dr. Hu Qishang of traditional Chinese medicine, and also we have with us Dr. Liu Hao of Western medicine. Dr. Hu Qishang is a successor of Yanshi internal medicine with a doctor's degree in traditional Chinese medicine. He works as a senior doctor of TCM at Shanghai Shuguang Hospital. Dr. Liu Hao is an endocrinologist and chief medical officer at Shanghai United Family Hospital and Clinic. He's also certified by the American Board of Internal Medicine. Could you please tell us, how common is this disease?
Diabetes is actually very common, and actually we call it an epidemic because it has reached such alarming proportions. And actually, it's a good topic that we're talking about this today because China is now called the diabetes capital of the world.
现在中国的糖尿病的患病率可能已经接近12%，这还只是说已经诊断糖尿病的。那么可能一些糖尿病前期的病人，可能就是说他血糖已经有点升高，但是还没有到达糖尿病诊断的这部分人群可能更大。
Here is the question: What is diabetes, and what causes it?
Diabetes is actually diabetes mellitus. That's the official name. And the reason that we have this disease is that the body has a difficulty managing blood sugar or glucose. We need a hormone called insulin. Insulin is something that's made in our body that helps take glucose. After we eat it, it goes into our bloodstream. It helps take glucose and puts it into the cells for energy. Diabetes occurs when there's a problem with insulin. So the blood sugar is in our blood, but because there's a problem with insulin, it can't get into the cells to give us energy. And that's where we have the problem. We have high levels of blood sugar that can't get into our cells. We can't get the right types of energy, and high levels of blood sugar cause a lot of bad disease potentially in our bodies.
那么我们古代呢，有一个病的描写跟它非常相似，我们叫消渴。最早的是这个描写见于唐代的医学家曾礼言的他的一本著作叫《古今录验》这本书里面，他是这样描写的：渴而饮水多，小便数，无知是肤片甜者，皆消渴之类也。这个它就是我们中国最早提出的糖尿病的定义。首先呢就是口渴，然后呢它因为口渴，然后它会喝很多的水，喝水多以后呢就小便比较多，它的小便是甜味的。在我们古代有一条它叫做禀赋不足，五脏柔弱。另外一条叫做饮食不节，高粱厚味。什么叫五脏柔弱？就是我们中国人的体质跟同样的外国人的体质就相比起来，可能在我们体重比他们轻的情况下面，我们更容易倾向于得糖尿病。这可能就是跟我们的这个遗传有关系。另外一点就是，以前糖尿病都是出现在这种贵族阶层，但是最近因为我们的生活不断的得到改善，这油腻的或者是甜的这些东西吃的比较多了以后，就会再加上这个基因遗传的关系，所以我们的糖尿病的发病率就是不断的升高，而且不断的年轻化。
胡医生，我想问一下，就是我们中国的那个糖尿病的病人，他一般的话多大？那现在有没有年轻化的一个趋势？
对，我举一个我身边人的例子，前阵子我的一个亲戚，他突然来找我，他说我要找你来看病，我说那看什么病呢？ 他说我检查出来有糖尿病。那么他现在他的岁数可能只有30多岁，他小便里面已经发现有微量的蛋白，这就说明他糖尿病已经我们讲糖尿病呢已经有引起了并发症。糖尿病可能并不可怕，但是呢它的并发症是非常可怕的，它可能会引起大血管的并发症，就比如说像我们心脏的血管、脑血管或者是下肢的这个血管，比如说就会引起像冠心病、中风或者是坏疽等等这些疾病。那么它还会影响到一些微血管，我们身体里面的微血管，比如说肾脏的血管，它就是微血管。那么如果它有受到损害以后，可能就会把一些微量的蛋白漏到这个小便里面，这就是一种它的微血管已经有损害的一种表现。甚至有些人，比如说他的视网膜的血管也是这种微血管，患糖尿病的时间久了以后，可能会慢慢的造成视网膜的病变，严重的可能会导致失明。
Why diabetes have so many complications?
Well, that's a good question. One of the reasons is that the blood sugar that's in your blood vessels goes to all of your whole body, and so what we know is that prolonged levels, long periods of high blood sugar, damage a lot of different parts of your body. As Dr. Hu mentioned, it damages your kidney. You start spilling what we call that protein in the urine. The worry there is that you have your kidney stop working and you go on dialysis, which we want to avoid. It affects the blood vessels in your eyes so that people go blind. It affects the nerves throughout your body, and particularly in your legs.
Diabetes is such a serious illness, and now I'm beginning to worry about our patient. So let's have a look. Shirley is an overseas returnee. She takes an active part in public service activities after a busy work schedule.
Auntie Jo lives alone because her child works overseas, and because she's with age, so sometimes her leg was not that good, and so sometimes I go shopping at the supermarket with her. And recently I found her was easily get hungry and thirsty. I don't know why. And one thing is that she got bad habit is she cannot get rid of smoking. So today I take her here to get a body check.
Aunt Jo, an older woman living in Shirley's community, met Shirley during one of the community's activities. At the hospital, Shirley accompanies Aunt Jo in taking a blood test for diabetes. So our patient is now doing a physical exam, and the results haven't come back yet. But may I ask, what if he is diagnosed with diabetes?
So if he is diagnosed with diabetes, there's a number of things that are very important. One is that we want to control the blood sugar. So sometimes this is done by using medicines, such as insulin or other medicines that you can take by mouth. There are a number of other critical things for his health. He needs to control his blood pressure, sometimes with medicines usually. He needs to control his cholesterol. So we find that cholesterol is a very important component of metabolic or health for diabetes patients. He needs to stop smoking. The other things that I would say that are very important for this person, as if somebody who is diagnosed with diabetes, is to make sure that their diet is that they manage their diet well. So that involves making sure that they don't eat too many carbohydrates that can raise blood sugar. In addition, a few other things. They should get their kidneys checked to make sure their kidney function is okay, and they also need to check their eyes. We want to make sure that somebody doesn't go blind, and we can detect that with some pretty easy testing with the eye doctor. So those are a few things, and then they should get a foot check. Make sure that the nerves, the sensation in their feet is okay, because we certainly don't want somebody with diabetes to get an amputation.
胡医生，我想问一下，我们中医药有什么办法能够来治疗糖尿病？
在这里呢，我可以给大家介绍我们古代比较有名的方剂，用一个叫黄连丸。黄连里面所含的那个小破碱，它有明显的降糖的作用。我这里也可以举一个就是食疗方，就是用我们的熟米，也就是我们现在所称的小米。
小米。这
个小米煮粥、小米做饭可以有一定的，就是说治疗这个糖尿病的作用。在那个明代医学家李时珍的《本草纲目》里面也提到，用小米煮饭，有预防和治疗消渴病的作用。
What other treatment can we Western medicine?
So I can talk a little bit about that. So in diabetes, we are focused on bringing the sugar down, the blood sugar down. and controlling that. And so there's a variety of ways that we can do that. And they center around, most of the therapies center around insulin. We talked a little bit about insulin. So that being said, there are also oral types of medicines, meaning medicines we take by mouth that help either make the insulin work better.
He and the guests will just talk about the threats of the diabetes, and which makes me really nervous. And now I finally got the result of the test, and the doctor told me that Auntie Jo is far from diabetes and just an early stage, and she maybe need to do more tests and exams. So now we go to do the test. See you later.
So doctors, our patient has been diagnosed with pre-diabetes, which is good news, relatively speaking. So what can we do to prevent the development of it?
It's good. It is good news that the patient doesn't have diabetes for pre-diabetes, because there's been a number of studies to show that if you take certain measures, you can prevent or delay from getting diabetes. Eating right every day, trying to exercise. And so what people typically say is if you can do 30 minutes of exercise, moderate exercise, where you're getting, you're getting a little sweat maybe. There are medicines that some of the studies looked at. There's a big study that's called the DPP, and that looked at medicines versus lifestyle change. And actually what it found was they were both effective, but actually lifestyle change, that's diet, exercise, was more effective, much more effective.
So what is the link with the sweat and diabetes? Is there like anything poison coming out from the body, which is linked to diabetes?
One of the reasons is that insulin sensitivity, what we call sensitivity, somehow the insulin works better as you are able to, yes, it stimulates, but it also works better. So for the same amount of insulin, you're actually getting a better effect. And so actually you're helping your body by doing all these things.
This is a very critical concept, right? Then people will remember that, okay, I will do exercise, which will stimulate my, insulin production sensitivity.
It will help your insulin work better. That's one of the very many different benefits of exercise.
那请教一下胡医生啊，那个从中医角度讲，我们有什么办法能够来预防糖尿病？
我们还可以对一些穴位进行针刺或者是按摩，来达到这样的效果。就是说我们可以刺激胰和脾的在我们背上的相对的穴位。胰的这个穴位呢是在我们讲是背后这个脊柱第8胸椎旁开，就是两侧，大概是1.5寸，1.5寸，大概差不多2指左右的这样的一个距离。这两个穴位，这个就叫做胰腧。然后呢，再往下到第11胸椎，一样是旁开1.5寸的话，这个穴位我们就是叫脾腧。就是说胰和脾这两个穴位，刺激这两个穴位就能够提高胰岛素的敏感性。另外更加方便的一个办法，我们可以用耳穴。其中在这个耳屏间的这个位置上面，我们这里有一个点，就叫做内分泌。耳穴的话呢，我们就不用这种按摩的方法，我们是用这种小的磁珠。小的磁珠，用一个小的磁珠把它拿下来，就贴到这个点上。一个是这个穴位，另外一个呢在上面。就是在凹陷的里面再进去一点，这里有一个叫胰胆这样一个刺激点，它也可以在这里贴一个小的磁珠。那么这个磁珠贴在那个耳朵上面呢，你可以每天花一定的时间给它按摩一下。
Okay, now Auntie Jo is doing the eye test, and He and the doctor will just talk about the threats of diabetes complication, which are very seriously. And I think it is necessary for the diabetic who is in the early stage to do the eyes and legs test, which is very important.
Aunt Jo's eyes and legs haven't yet been affected by diabetes. However, after listening to our TCM's doctor's recommendations for massage and food therapy on our program, Shirley decided to try them out with Aunt Jo at her home.
嘉怡，你觉得按的怎么样啊？
蛮舒服的。
Doctor who was just recommend the food therapy in the program, which is the small steamed rice. So Auntie Jo, let's go and cook some.
Now let's have a review of the tips from the Chinese and Western medicine doctors. Tips from the TCM doctor. The pancreas and spleen are related. Strengthening the spleen can treat pancreas. The key to complications caused by diabetes is blood stasis in the vessels and channels. Stimulating the blood removes stasis. Traditional Chinese medicine, food therapy, and acupuncture massage can not only treat diabetes, but also prevent or delay pre-stage diabetes from developing into diabetes. Tips from the Western doctor. Develop good living habits, quit smoking, and do more exercise. Maintain an appropriate diet. Eat less sugar and high-fat food. Have regular health checks. If there are indicators for pre-stage diabetes, you should check your eyes, arms,